Jamie Dornan, you play serial killer Paul Spector in the series The Fall, which streams on Netflix. Playing such a dark, violent character, is it emotionally taxing to get into character?
Yeah, it is actually. It is. It's tough, because you can't like relax. I never relax when I'm playing him in a way. You always. It's so thankfully, it's so far from my own personal character that I always feel that I'm having to stay within him. I mean, I have my moments like, when I can find relief from him, when we're filming, I will. And, as soon as I hear cut, I will try to take myself out of it. But I think the overall process of playing him over a 3 month period, 4 month period, it's draining because, I love it, but it is to stay in the headspace of someone who thinks the way he does and acts on the things that he thinks about. It's tough, yeah, but I love it.
When you're done shooting, is it ever, some days tougher than others to sort of get out of that headspace to sort of shake that off?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, some days, especially in the first series, when there's more of seeing Spectre in the act, and actually carrying out these horrific crimes. Um, those days were, yeah, that was tough. You're with some, lovely actress, and you're having to do kind of horrible things to her, and I was always very apologetic, and when I finished, I was always like, I always felt like, oh, I just need to like get myself as far from that headspace as I can. And I would do it. I would try to, on those days particularly, I'd try to like, go for a run or play football or soccer with my mates, and yeah, and just try to exert yourself from that headspace. But yeah, some days were darker and harder to get over than others, I think. Yeah.
In those scenes you mentioned, where Paul is terrorizing his victims, what are those, like? Do you try and keep things light between takes, when you're shooting scenes like that, just to sort of make everyone comfortable and try not to become overwhelmed by it?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm all for. I understand why some people are their approach to acting is method, and I I personally, it's whatever works for you, and for me personally, especially playing a character like that, I don't want to be particularly method. I want to be able to release myself from those, the constraints of his character when I can. So, yeah, it's not in my character as Jamie, I guess, to be that dark and to I like to try to lighten the mood whenever I can. I usually, hopefully, I'm the sort of person who likes to laugh a lot and have fun and be around other people who are making me laugh. So there's definitely lots of that, and often instigated by me because I personally felt the need to break away from the headspace when I can. But the lovely thing about that job is, it's we shoot it in Ireland, in Belfast, where I'm from. All the crew, sound the same as me and sort of speak my language. You know what I mean? And it's a nice camaraderie, and I feel like it's just like being at home again, and that's a really lovely thing. So we actually, for for a show where we're dealing with such dark subject matter and there's so much intensity involved in the scenes and what's happening, we do have a lot of fun on that set as well. It is good fun, and I want it to be, because I want to enjoy work, and I love it, between action and cut, but I wanna have fun when all the other parts are happening as well. So we have fun on that job.
In the first two seasons of the show, basically told two parallel stories. There was yours as Paul Spector, and then Gillian Anderson's as Stella Gibson, who is the detective investigating. And the season two finale finally brought you two together in a big way. What was it like to finally bring those characters, face to face for, like that for basically, that interrogation scene, and then, I mean, you two were
Sure.
so closely involved in that one.
Oh, sure. I mean, it was such a treat for me because, you know, I'm a massive fan of Gillian, you know, and when I got this job, I was so excited, the idea of working with her. But of course, in the first series, you know, apart from one fleeting moment, we don't have any scenes together really. It was always a sure sign to know if someone had actually watched The Fall or not, because people would be like, "Oh, I love you in The Fall. What's Gillian like to work with?" I'd be like, "Oh, I I have one tiny moment of this on screen with her in the first series," and then obviously the way the story's written, and it's the cat and mouse aspect, and it's back and forth, and yeah, as you say, the parallels, and you spend time with Spector's character and then Gibson's character, and they're very much layered like that. So to finally, I think for the audience as well, to finally have the two, you know, protagonists come together, you know, meet head to head, with everything that's at stake when they meet. I think we knew for the audience that that would be such a big moment, but also for me as an actor and Gillian as an actor, I mean, it was such a treat to actually get to go like, you know, head to head with each other. You know, especially the, you know, the interrogation scene. And I mean, it was also like, God, what a scene to get to do it on. You know, it's not like some little moment. I think it's one of the longest scenes in like British television history. You know, you know, it's 12, 13 pages of solid dialogue. I think it runs at 19 or 20 minutes, maybe even more than that, which is a long time, you know, but it was definitely my favorite day of shooting the whole of The Fall series 1, series 2 was just that, and getting to see Gillian's work up that close. And I loved it, man. Loved it.
And you know, since those characters were so separate from each other, and you know, you didn't really have many scenes together, you know, except that one fleeting moment in the first season. Did you and you know Gillian Anderson have much interaction on set at all, or were you like almost completely isolated from each other during you know that previous period?
I think I've got to know Gillian so much more doing press for The Fall, and you know, doing like screenings and like Q&As and you know, other press, than I did, you know, filming. I mean, we, you know, especially in the first series, it was always very much like a Gillian day or a Jamie day, and you know, they very rarely cross. Now and again, there'd be like half a Jamie day, and then that feeds into Gillian day. So I'd see her in the makeup trailer briefly and be like, "Hey, you know, like how's it? How's your side of things going?" Um, but that was nice about the second series. We got more time together, and Gillian's great, man. I mean, she's first and foremost for me. I just think fantastic, amazing actress, and you know, you know, that is so evident in her work in this and in everything she's done. But you know, I think especially in The Fall, but she's so fun as well, and she has this persona as Stella, as being so like icy and sort of hard to penetrate and understand, and a complicated woman, and can't really hold down a relationship and all that sort of stuff. And there's a sort of sternness to that, and it sort of seems unapproachable. I think Gillian, as a person, can, you know, maybe give that off, because she's played a lot of characters who, you know, are kind of very strong women, and that guys are maybe a little bit, you know, fearful of and stuff. But actually, for my money, you know, she's really sweet and funny and easy, and has a really giggly, childish side to her that comes out, you know, often on set. And she's great, man. I can't say enough good things about her. She's brilliant.
It was announced that The Fall will be coming back for a third season, but season two ended on a big cliffhanger for your character. You know, he was shot and possibly dying, it seemed. Do you know
Yeah.
anything about the upcoming season, like when it starts shooting again? Have you gotten any scripts yet?
I haven't, but funnily enough, I'm in South Africa at the moment filming something else, and I have a sort of 40-minute drive to work every day, and on the way back from work today, we just wrapped a couple of hours ago. I spoke to Alan Cubitt, the creator of The Fall, the whole way in the car, because I haven't spoken to him in a long time, and I needed a sort of update about, you know, what's happening, what his plans are, and everything. But yeah, that is the plan, to do a third series. And yeah, I mean, I obviously can't give anything away about, you know, my part in it and where it's going to go and everything. But there's definitely going to be more. Yeah.
The Twitter sphere saw that I'd be talking with you today, and you know the fan response was just immense. You know, I'm wondering, you know, has the big international fan base that you seem to have, you know, developed over the last, you know, couple of years, has that been a big developing, a big adjustment for you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, to be honest, you don't feel that, it doesn't feel that palpable until you're sort of online. And so I am sort of actively trying to avoid, social media and stuff at the moment, because it's then it suddenly just feels like, it's real. It's like, there it is. It's like there actually are all these people that are interested in what you're doing, because actually in your everyday life, it doesn't seem to have a huge effect, I guess. We live a pretty quiet life, my wife and I and our baby. So it's kind of like, you know, you don't almost, you're not massively aware of it. You just go about your day, and it's not like we're being chased down the street or anything. I mean, there's obviously a bit more interest, and you notice people sort of whisper and here and there, but it's nothing. It's nothing that's sort of out of control at this stage, which I'm very pleased to say. And also, what's has been good recently is that I've been consistently working, and I finish this and I go almost straight on to another gig. So it's kind of like when you're working, you're just so like in that, and you're just doing the work, and you're coming home and you're being with your family, and then you're going back to work, and you're in this kind of bubble. So I am aware of it, but you're far less aware of it than I would be if I was sort of actively on Twitter, and I'm trying to just take a step back from all that, because I'm not sure how healthy it is.
I thought I'd ask a few of the questions the fans raised about the fall. Among them, a lot of them are interested in knowing if regardless of what's actually going to happen, if you yourself were writing it, how would you like to see the story end for Paul?
God, yeah, I don't. I've never asked myself that question. I have no real. I definitely don't have an instant answer. I mean, it's funny with that show. He's such a heinous, horrible, evil man. But I do think Alan's so clever in the way it's written that, and so many people have said this to me, that you are almost rooting for him to get away with it, which is really weird. Considering you're, as an audience, you're privy to what he's up to and the horrible things he's done and the lives that he's ruined. But I've had so many people say that there's something about it that you want him to get away with it. I don't think I want him to get away with it. I don't really have much sympathy for the guy. But so I guess, I think it's got to be a dramatic ending in whatever happens to him. But I haven't really thought too far beyond that. No.
Appropriately, we at Gold Derby are all about awards, and the Emmy season is coming up, and actually Anthony from Amy Dornan Online was asking what would be your reaction if you actually won an Emmy for the fall.
I mean, that's a very far-fetched idea. I mean, I think, I mean, God, like, awards are great, man, because you put a lot of work in, and you think you've you feel proud about what you've done often with things, and sometimes no one cares, and now and again certain institutions care, and that's a lovely thing. Even to be nominated for any of these things is a massive enough deal. I wouldn't even let myself get into the world of what it would be like to win things and nominations, and you like. I always thought I was one of those people who thought that I didn't care about that kind of thing, but then you do sort of get nominated, and you're like, look, it's a nice thing. But that, for me, that's as far as it needs to be. Like, a nomination's enough, because you get nominated against these people that you have huge admiration and respect for, and even to be in the same sort of sentence as these people is sort of enough. So yeah, look, of course I'd be pleased, but that's you just gotta, yeah, I sort of don't let myself think about those things too much.
Hannah wanted to know, noticing Paul and Stella are both, sort of alpha characters, personality-wise. Do you find that there are similarities between them?
Yeah, I mean, I do to an extent, yeah, and I think in the first series, when we have the big telephone call on the bridge at the end of the first series, and as Spector says, we're very like you and I, and both driven by a will to power, and all these sort of aspects that he is drawn upon that thinks are similar to Gibson. So I think there's an element of truth to that. I mean, I think he certainly, and whether Gibson believes it or not is another thing, but I think she probably wouldn't want to admit, but maybe there are some things that he said in that phone call that maybe do make sense to her. But certainly two people who know what they want and sort of won't let me, but those things that they want happen to be very, very different, you know. But yeah, no, I would agree with that to a point, yeah.
Christina Wydack asks, how would you describe Spector's thoughts and feelings about Gibson compared to how he views other women? Like, does he see her as a worthy foe, or maybe as just another victim?
I think there's a fascination there. You know, I think there's strength to her and an allure to her that he probably hasn't witnessed in too many women. A lot of people ask, you know, does she a potential, yeah, victim? And you know, my thing about that is like Spectre very much has a victim type, and I Gibson Gibson, you know, delivers on some of the aspects of is I think he respects her a lot on her mind and how good she is at her job, but he also feels that he's more powerful than her and that she will never catch him. That's the thing with a lot of these guys who commit, like, you know, the arrogance is sort of beyond belief. You know, they honestly think that they're just totally invincible and, you know, immortal, and they can get away with anything and they won't be caught. And I think even when you know, when they have him and he's like in prison and he's being interrogated, I still think there's an aspect of Spectre that thinks he can somehow get out of this, or, you know, get away with it, which is sort of fascinating. You know, their minds work like that.
Dario Dornan wants to know what's the best and worst part of playing Paul Spector?
I think the best part about playing him is that, you know, as actors, you want roles that are complex, and you want to play characters that are multi-layered and that you can really you know, delve into and discover aspects of the character that are outside of your comfort zone, or, you know, that you've never sort of tried to navigate in those waters before, you know. And Spectre gives that in bulk. You know, there's so much about him that is so conserved, and actors love that because it's a lot to chew on. You know, you're not just playing some straightforward guy, and so I love that. I feel so thankful, you know, every day when I'm playing that character, that it's me, that I'm the guy who gets to get my teeth into such a sort of monster character. So I think that's definitely the best. But the worst bit is, you know, sometimes it's not easy living with the subject matter and being the, you know, being the vehicle for that kind of brutality. That can weigh on your conscience, and it has weighed on mine at times, you know, often. And you know, but again, you know, I guess you have to. It's all pretend, and that's the kind of way you can deal with it, you know. But it is subject matter that doesn't come that easy, you know, for me or for a lot of people. So I guess that's the hardest bit, yeah.
Patricia Varange wants to know: do you think Paul really loved his wife, or was he just basically using her to as sort of a cover for who he really is?
I think that's a really good question. I would probably the latter. I would say, I mean, yeah, there's definitely an element of using her to be able to put up a bit of a front that, like, he is this normal family man and he's got a good job and he's got a wife and two kids, and from the outside he lives a very normal existence and he looks like not a very threatening character, and helps and allows him to get on with the other side of his life, which we all know about. So I think there's an element of that. I don't think he loves her. I mean, in the second series he says he's incapable of love, and that he hates everything and everyone, including himself, so that's a pretty big statement. So it's hard after saying something like that to imagine that he loves anyone. I would argue that he has a certain amount of love for Olivia, for his daughter. Or certainly that would be the closest thing to love that he is able to express, would be my way of saying it. But yeah, no, I don't think he loves Sally Ann, no.
Diane Affolder wants to know if you think doing The Fall has made you a better actor for other roles you play.
It certainly tested me in ways that I hadn't, been tested before, and I guess I'd done a bit of work previous to The Fall, but I hadn't done I hadn't done roles that had pushed me that far before, or had asked me to just explore that side of myself before. So I guess you learn something in every character being an actor, I think, but it's definitely pushed me The Fall, and I guess going forward it can only have helped. As I said, you've got to learn something. I always want to, and I feel very at the moment. And you hope that with every job you learn something that you can then carry forward into later work. So yeah, I'd have to say it probably has, yeah.
You've a couple of your best known roles now, this and 50 Shades of Grey, you're playing these dark characters. Do you long to maybe do go into just like a light, frothy romantic comedy or something after this?
Yeah, do you have one?
I could write one.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, look, what you said earlier about I'm usually pretty laid back guy. I like to have fun. I'm not like some. I have my moments of being very serious, and when I need to be, and I'm very focused when I'm at work and everything. But outside of work, I'm probably would err on the lighter side of life, let's say, and so yeah, I definitely love the idea of playing someone that isn't so conflicted. I think, although I do love that, and I will still seek out roles that with characters who are have that kind of conflict in their life and behave a certain way as a result of it. But you just want to play interesting characters, and it doesn't mean there can't be interesting characters in something that's a bit lighter. So I definitely like the idea of it. Also, I'm an actor. You want to be able to express every facet of that and show that you can do other roles that aren't so dark. Of course. So you could find yourself. I could have found myself only. I could have done like 3 romantic comedies in a row, and then I could have someone saying, "Would you not like to do someone who's a bit meatier and maybe get your teeth into a little bit more? Someone who's got a bit of darkness." So, I'm just happy to be doing good work that's that people want to see. So I'm not going to make too many complaints about my lot at the moment. But I definitely down the line like the idea of doing something a bit lighter. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you very much for talking with me today, and congratulations on the first 2 seasons of The Fall, and I and a lot of your internet fans and viewers are really looking forward to season 3.
Thank you so much. That's so cool. Thanks, man.